and of him just getting too over-aggressive. Now he's got a solid little support line and some good DPS roles to support him up, and he's really been able to play a lot more stationary, a lot more co-centric with his squad.
Absolutely. You see LGD gaming, though, it's not going to be Tonshu in there. You're actually going to be playing Melon, going along with rookies.
Yeah, interesting.
A 3-2-1 dive concept, a very popular composition on this patch as well, where TSL are taking a Reinhardt and Zarya so they have a little bit more brawl potential, a little bit more lockdown. Amir gets a little bit of charge to his name, finds Wan Li, and now they're up in a 5v6.
And again, the power of goats coming through. This is going to be the ice goats with the Rachel being able to play on the mate. I know, I just like to throw in different adjectives to goats, and it always gets a reaction from you in some way, Panda. I know it always does. Really does. But the point does open up for 666 Legend, and all of a sudden this is great for you because you have a lot of lockdown potential to essentially keep LGD stalled out from really getting capture point just because of the fact that you've got this mate that is so survivable on a map like Village.
Yeah, Kaneki, Hoyo-Chen, they're going to be flying in the sky. Got a Pharmacy coming here as well. But it doesn't help out LGD's gaming's chance. They're going to have a hard time just existing on the point as well, but they got a lot of good poke, which you see Kaneki finding LRC right off the rip. That's a lot of healing gone for TSL.
Kaneki actually dealing with a lot of issues with Mir, who's very boosted up, but how about this? No Diva means free buy to grenades plus a nano boost from Secret just to try to break on through, and LGD will clean up everybody relatively quickly as well. 40% is where it would get to you for 666 Legend, but LGD on the flip.
Yeah, that's typically how this composition will be played. You see Kaneki finds a lot of good damage against all of the healing and the tankiness of TSL. Mir's actually going over to the Diva, trying to mitigate a little bit more of that damage with the defense matrix usage. Let's not forget, rather, this is a 15-meter defense matrix, not the one that you were playing with on the live patch as well. And I got to talk about Rachel. Rachel will have the Blizzard, but Rachel has had a little bit of a problem in previous games as well, just walling off a few teammates. Gonna have to see if they can find any value in this. Good ice block.
Even better EMP though, as it finds 5. Shush wasn't able to get the nano off beforehand, but LGD with everyone being hacked, that's going to be a pretty easy cleanup. You talked about questionable blizzards. I think you could probably add that one to the list, as this entire team is essentially falling apart from around him. Rachel still throws the blizzard out, looking for maybe some last-minute heroics. Not going to find any success with it, and it will in fact be just swaps coming out for TSL as Rachel will swap over to the Tracer.
Yeah, gonna be looking for a little bit more backline pressure. Basically, if you can put Rachel into the backline, as well as DPS and Mir, a little bit more of a classic dive style, well, Secret can be left out on the open, and pulling Hoyo-Chen away from the Pharah can make them a little bit more open to damage. Shush on the Moira. Self-sustain is the name of the game. Gonna use this rally from LRC to try to over-sustain themselves into this fight.
Another great buyout grenade, though, keeping a lot of healing mitigated from TSL, and opening first blood in this engagement goes in favor of LGD. Wan Li very close to another EMP, by the way, 85%. He did just use it. He's not going to need to use it in this engagement, though, as LGD are cleaning up the pieces, mostly from Melon. Again, you mentioned him playing instead of Tonshu to start things off here against TSL, and he's looked pretty good, able to distract the backline pretty significantly for TSL.
Yeah, just a quick comparison. I mean, Melon already right off the rip just looks way more contained than Tonshu. We're up here at about 90%. TSL taking full swaps across the board. LRC now onto the Sombra, trying to get a close capture point. A little bit of contestant as well. Going to be able to start that going here momentarily. But you see Kaneki high in the sky, has the barrage and the EMP to combo along with it.
And really no tools whatsoever for TSL, and even less when you get hacked by Wan Li. Although the sound barrier does come through, so a little bit of extra sustain through that mitigation of abilities being used. But okay, there it is. Barrage drops down mostly into the face of a defense matrix, but it will be enough to at least force out the self-destruct sequence. No one will fall from it. It will be a remet coming through from Mir, but this will likely be him falling behind the Moira, and that will indeed be the case, as that 99% will in fact go to LGD. Although there was a little bit of a flip in the middle of that engagement for TSL. You figure that as soon as the cleanup comes through, LGD should be able to push this map away, but they have to deal with the Primal Rage from DPS, who's able to be a nice distraction and take down too. So all of a sudden, with this, TSL maybe a chance to start fighting back.
Rachel going down again, built the pulse bomb, found a little to no value in just the vanilla kit of Tracer. Mir coming back on the Soldier 76, locking the legs, getting back to the fight as quick as possible. But leaves DPS without a Diva as well. We're up at 85%. And TSL, they have the EMP to hold on to. Great discretion coming through from LRC. But it's only because taking swaps from different points of attack that they were finally being able to find this composition in full, minus Mir on the Soldier 76, but they're finding a lot of good damage off now that Melon pops the Primal Rage. It's a lot of damage that can be found.
Hack coming in as the EMP comes through for LRC. It finds the majority of LGD gaming, but Wan Li's already earned himself another one. We'll just get a right-click hack onto Melon, as well does LRC, but again, the EMP follows up for LGD gaming, and that will likely be enough this time around. So close, but probably not close enough for TSL. The visor will be popped for Mir. DPS once again into Primal Rage, and man, they had it right in front of them. Again, a lot of resources for throwing a DPS just to get the initial flip, but now things are definitely starting to get cleaned up as Kaneki was able to find himself one more kill. The shield bash coming into TSL's support line, and that'll be the 199. But again, signs of life in a major way from TSL to start.
They had the Moira, they had 3 damage dealers, and well, Rachel goes down on Tracer to a self-destruct. Yes, they were hacked, but I mean, come on, man. Yeah, something's got to give here. And well, Rachel was about to be playing out on that third hero of choice was going to be the Doomfist. Now swapping over to Brig for our interior map of Nepal. We're headed to Sanctum. Gonna see who's gonna be going down the pit to look for Mandata's gold. But LGD Gaming, they look very, very good. Secret is basically given no light of day. Nobody's looking at Secret. Secret is getting so much heals off that Melon can just basically do whatever they please whatsoever. And again, having 3 different DPS there at the end of TSL, they still couldn't kill Melon who's Primal Raging, by the way. Dropped down to about 200 HP, didn't even die. LGD now flying indoors with the pharmacy. Kaneki now on the Doomfist versus TSL. They go over for a full 3-3 with the Winston variation.
Oh man, so much early damage being secured from LGD. Wanley's already at about 40% to a barrage, and that's right about through 1 clip of rockets that come through. A trade does happen though, as Shush will be traded out for Melon, so 5v5 action. San's healer for TSL, and without a frontliner for LGD, but Wanley again just flying for free at the moment is able to find 399, and that's going to be enough for him likely to float a little bit closer to the sun, which is that Brigitte. And well, actually has to back away because again, it's been really solid Zarya play coming out of TSL. This time it's LRC who's able to get it, but again, the early barrage charge is there, and that'll be enough damage to start cleaning up some major pieces of TSL's composition. Plus with Melon being rezzed right back up, the numbers will vastly favor LGD, and they'll be able to get the opening capture percentage here on Sanctum.
I disagree with this choice from Shush to come back on the Ana. LGD are running a dive variation of tanks. Defense matrix usage so far from Rookie has been pretty outstanding. Finding total value in biotic grenades or sleep darts. Probably just want to be sticking with the Zen just for raw damage alone. You can put the Discord Orb on Wanley in the air, who's obviously finding a lot more value than they probably should. Mir's doing a lot of good work. We'll have the self-destruct walking in here. Combo that along with the Primal Rage. You could find some value.
Self-destruct sequence is used as essentially an anti-air mechanism for Wanley, who was very close to another barrage. He does get rezzed by Hoyon-chan, and now the Meteor Strike comes through as Sush will be the target taken down. Kaneki in a really tough spot, will eventually be taken out, but has the damage been dealt? The answer seems to be yes, as Melon is able to push off Rachel from the side of the map, and again, 40% and still accumulating up for LGD on the point.
TSL, however, LRC is pretty quick to build. Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. That's going to get a little bit more farm time in there, but Wanley, direct rockets. Name a more iconic duo coming here on our control map so far, Alan. I dare you to try to find one. Wanley's going to have another barrage here as well. And, well, it's just the amount of pressure. Oh, no. I don't know if you want to... Okay. Well,
that's a bold 1v1 take there, Andy.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, Kaneki could have taken that easily. Rachel probably would have sneezed on this individual, probably end up going down. But LGD, again, creating a lot of frontline oppression, just allows Wanley to fly these guys for free.
Nano boost does come out. Now the sound barrier as well for 666 selection. That's about everything they have as far as the ultimates go. DPS can extend his life by going to Primal Rage, and you'll hit the trigger right here. Can he throw anybody off the edge? Looks like he's at least able to find a little bit of damage to take down Rookie. So with that, it looks like the pressure for TSL is good, as they have flipped the point back into their favor. And if they can find a couple extra staggered kills and cleanups here in the end, this would be a really good significant amount of time going to TSL. But unfortunately, they aren't quite able to lock down Melon before he jumps away.
So it was like Melon died like once, maybe twice this entire control map.
Yeah,
like,
if that.
He gets away with so much, he's gonna have another Primal Rage. And TSL, they're stuck in between a Winston and a Pharah, and then you have to be locking down one. LRC pops the EMP and still dies by a direct rocket.
But again, like, why? I mean, there is no follow-up there for TSL, and again, just a little bit of miscoordination coming out, and now all of a sudden boosted up as Wanley has a barrage, but likely doesn't need to use it, not as of yet. Okay, if you're gonna put me shush right in my face, I'll just give you the left hook of Pharah, and that'll be enough to take down the elimination. And it is gonna be 46% for TSL before it gets slipped back into the favor of LGD Gaming.
Last fight territory here. Melon's going in with the Goomba Stomp on the LRC. Besides that, EMP has looked pretty lackluster on this hero thus far, Alan, and oh, it doesn't exactly look good because Mir's going to lose this mech here momentarily. Oh, gets the health pack and gets some heals just in time. 95% and counting. It's probably going to come down to Mir or 399 to just touch. And well, this is going to be a staggered push regardless because you saw Rachel got slept. He got the wreck rocketed, and oh, now you're really stuck in a 5v6.
Biotic Grenade hits DPS in 39.9, and now all of a sudden it's going to be up to the Barrage, able to at least find Shush before the Sleep Dart takes full effect, and now big numbers for LGD. They do lose Kaneki, so all of a sudden there might be an opportunity to start fighting this back without that Inspire healing. Is there going to be enough to keep Rookie alive? The answer seems to be yes, and now all of a sudden there will be a res onto Kaneki, as Hoyo-chan says the skies are clear enough for me to jump on in. Pulse Bomb does take down Melon, so no main frontliner here for LGD. Not over yet, but slept and no chance to touch. LGD able to take Nepal on a 2-map set to 0. But again, you know, Lafon will bring you in here early because there were some moments in there where TSL were just so close to capitalizing, but not quite able to get the job done.
Yeah, and as they say, it's, you know, the close only counts for 2 games, and that is not Overwatch. Overwatch is not one of them. So, you know. Speaking of close, though, TSL is playing with grenades, though, because they need something, and if they continue to play this caliber of play, I don't see them even taking a map here from LGD. Honestly, at this point, I'm starting to wonder if they're going to take a point from LGD. That's a real concern here because LGD is just playing so far above, and I think the other thing, too, is that we talked Kadalus up a ton at the start of the broadcast, right? But we didn't even see him yet. And from LGD, they're playing, you know, they're playing their starting roster of Kaneki and Wanli, and it's, you know, they're playing the Sombra, they're playing, you know, the Pharah, and it's looking, you know, they play a Brig 2 at times. The thing that's happening here is that there's no entry point at all for LRC to farm the EMP. And if you want to win a fight off of, you know, ultimates, you have to be able to generate them first. And I really don't see TSL even doing that. So as scrappy as it was, you know, LGD just looked to be in control the whole time.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because you're taking a look at some of these highlights in the composition. This is essentially what Rachel went Tracer, and if you're looking on the left-hand side, what LGD were running, and you would think that you would be able to build more than one pulse bomb against a composition like that as well. I mean, Rookie has been having a pretty good season thus far. Looks very, very comfortable here with Melon on a dive concept, but again, like you said, Lafon, they're just not building the ultimates in time. LRC got 60% to a Graviton Surge and then just gave up all the charge, tried to go over to the Sombra because it might have been the better play, sure, but they couldn't get through the sustain that was the triple support. They had an Ana, Mercy, and a Brigitte for LGD on the inside of Sanctum, and well, that's pretty damn near difficult to break through, all things considered. When the Valkyrie is popped, it's all in close quarters in Sanctum anyway. You get a lot of value in that as well, and well, if you're not hacking the Mercy and you're not shutting down the flight abilities of the Pharmacy combo, well, pretty much free to do what you just saw, and that's whatever they wanted.
The biggest deal here, though, is that LGD has not been respecting TSL at all. And this is something we've talked about. This is something that we've mentioned a ton in past broadcasts, is that if you respect your opponent, you tend to give them space so they can take advantage of it. And sometimes that's necessary because the enemy team will do that anyway, right? We're talking about our when we see Billy versus you know, some of the top tier teams, you know, even against LGD in their first round matchup, there is some space given by the very fact that you know that they're going to create it. Here, LGD is not even giving them that space because they don't respect TSL enough to do that. And for TSL, there is an element there that you can take advantage of. You can make that your win condition, but you have to recognize it first and you have to force the issue. LGD just isn't given the opportunity to do so.
Well, we'll see how this set progresses. That's just map 1. We will see all 4 maps. We'll send things to a small break. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at the assault just after this. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Chinese Contenders. I hold shift with Panda. We've got ourselves a good one. Maybe. Who knows? We're not sure. It's still kind of being developed. The first one was... Yeah, you be the judge. That's why you're here. You're here to spectate and watch Overwatch and to see what happens. As LGD did have... were able to find, rather, the 2-0 on Nepal. It was a little bit closer for comfort on one of the map sets than the other, but we'll be headed to Paris next. A map where really anything can happen, but I think mostly because the simple fact is you're really going to see some pretty clear skill gaps between these two teams in a map like Paris.
Yep, and there was a big substitution that's coming through as well. Kaneki is out. Kadalus is in. And in a map like Paris, why wouldn't you end up doing that as well? I mean, you're going to end up having a lot of good sidelines coming out. Widowmaker could come to play. Well, that's just that. You see, TSL on the attack first. This DPS eccentric composition, and I say that's more than just a pun. You have DPS on their patented hero of the Wrecking Ball against a very, well, I guess a very casual composition for LGD Gaming. You're seeing this across multiple regions of Contenders thus far. The Solo Tank Orisa with the Torbjorn as well, flankers like LRC and DPS, they're going to really struggle here. So you're going to have to rely on the long-range damage from Rachel, Mir, and even Shush to go in to try to break that turret. And you have to make LGD move. By the time that's even done, you're going to have to try to find an entry point. But Shush shoots out the Mercy in the sky. Now, that's the pick that you need right there, TSL.
This is a big pick, and they've done a really good job of zoning away Kadalis as well, who you saw was trying to spy check. He was so worried about LRC for so long that he wasn't able to do any damage to Rachel whatsoever. So very little by very little, you're seeing Rachel and the rest of the gang of TSL start to work their way forward by the police station. But again, you can just see how mindful Rachel has to be as finally Kadalis hits the headshot. Mir is trying badly to battle back, but that sniper rifle on bow and arrow, which typically goes the way of the sniper rifle, especially when it's Kadalis that you're looking at. Rachel will be res, but again, there's a turret to deal with. There's Kadalis to deal with. There's so many tools for LGD to deal with the Pharah in the sky. And how about this? Kadalis, the headshot on the 399. Not able to track down the body shot, but it was even Rachel who's in a big bit of trouble, and Kadalis is popping off like we expected.
Walk-in highlight, really. Even the headshot, as soon as DPS pops out of the wrecking ball. Is it a headshot really? If you're shooting the hamster, I mean, you can shoot his chest too.
It's still his head, right?
I don't condone hamster violence like that, Kadalis. You're gonna have to calm down. But TSL at the end, you saw that turret placement from Rookie. It was a really good placement overall. That's what I was mentioning. That flankers like LRC are gonna have a hard time finding value. Even getting the hack as the turret's gonna auto lock. The turret does not miss, ladies and gentlemen, until it is broken. Well, that's gonna be LRC again, dropping down to half. Very slow charge of this EMP. We're down to 1:54, and no progress gained on to this point so far for TSL. They will have ultimates here momentarily. Nanoboo's probably going to be going over to Rachel once the Pharah truly gets into play. And they have the Valkyrie to walk in as well. DPS with the minefield can isolate a few targets, but isolation, well, that's kind of what Kadalis wants. He wants Shush and 399 to be out in the open.
A couple of nano boosts gets popped for both of our squads. A couple more ultimates could potentially be utilized here. DPS, I think, was looking for an entryway to get in, but there really was no viable path for him to get towards the point to use that minefield, so he'll be shut down for now. And again, TSL essentially has to sit back and wait for him to come off the respawn. You also have a Valkyrie and you have an EMP ready to go, so there's tools in the tank here for TSL. It just comes down to, can you get past Wanli and Kadalis?
The tools in the tank, yeah, the EMP is there, but look how split LGD are playing. You're gonna have to commit to either a 1 or 2 EMP here, more or less.
Okay.
Works.
Opportunity. I mean, again, you do use the barrage, but you take down LRC, so
no mercy either.
A little bit of, no mercy either. The res will be coming back up though from 399. Kadalis literally watched that the entire way.
No fly zone.
Yep, just dared him to peek after the res came through, and that's value for LGD.
Mirror's gonna lose their mech now as they try to go over to a more 2-2-2 lifestyle. Holding on to these DPS ultimates, we are truly in last fight territory here. LGD Gaming cycling a handful of theirs. Use the infrared sight and their own EMP. So, or I'm sorry, Wanli swapping out the fire, swapping over to the Somber rather, excuse me, after using the barrage. They're gonna have the minefield lock down this very narrow choke line, and while TSL, they are reeling. Rachel now on the Tracer, it's all about just getting to the point, but it's still flanker on flanker action. And with the Molten Core readily available for Rookie, it's not gonna be easy getting to this point, especially where that turret is hiding over by the Mega Pack.
Well, TSL's trying to set up shop. Biotic Grenade used just to finish off LRC before you could get the EMP fully off by the looks of it. No one was really affected by it. Minefield, Molten Core, nothing that you want to put your feet on. That'll be likely the end of TSL's hope at getting checkpoint A. Will be a res coming through, or it was attempted to. 399 again gets taken down by Kadalis, who's been the bait of his existence. Even Rookie getting involved with a little long-range headshot there onto Shush. And we set it up at the very beginning of this map. We're going to see some pretty big skill gaps in the two squads, and I think you absolutely got evidence in Exhibit A of it there. But the biggest thing we see a lot with these squads, I think, Andy, is the simple fact that with TSL, they had moments where, again, you get a little bit of ground. Can you turn it into a mile? And they just weren't quite able to get the job done to at least break onto that initial point.
I mean, let's be honest here. Wanli was allowed to exist as Pharah without a mercy for such a long time. Hoyo Chen was actually the first elimination in the entire round for TSL's attack, found by Shush, the flex support player for 666 Legend, and there wasn't any follow-up from there on out. We were even talking about how they were able to isolate targets and lock down the turret as well. They even forced Melon to come back on the Wrecking Ball rather than the Orisa. As split as they were, they just failed to really set up a coordinated dive altogether. But that's just the nature of Paris as well, man. I mean, it's really hard to make your way all the way back to the piano room and that balcony to where Kadalis was mostly housing themselves off. You also had their Ana playing right beneath there as well. And by the time the Wrecking Ball came back, Melon was there. Hoyo-Chen came back onto the Lucio using speedily characters for the longest walk in Assault map history. Even with the Sombra coming back as well, finding massive value. There's just no lockdown value from TSL's backline. And, well, then the shoe becomes on the other foot, and that's exactly what you saw from LGD Gaming. DPS found little to no value on the Wrecking Ball because of how much lockdown that was all there. Well, with the 2 different turret placements off of the first one that was right next to the cafe to the left-hand side when you walk through the choke as the attacking team, it was all just very hard for TSL to fully break through the defense that was LGD Gaming. Now TSL on their defense, they're going to go for their own solo Orisa composition. Mir's going to be living up to the Torbjorn mantle with LRC on the Widowmaker against Kadalis. You have your work cut out for you, man. I'm not going to lie, but a full port combo to back that one up as well. A triple tank at that with Rookie on the Diva. Expect high caliber things, and that's a great hot hook right there. The Pegasus was not aligned and could not block that hook.
Now all of a sudden, Secret is free to just dive right on in, and he finds himself another hook that into Mir, but he does get punished, so an opportunity for TSL to try to hold this off for some time until they get that sniper back into play. Secret does get rezzed up by Hoyo-Chan. Again, he's been really, really good about getting his resurrections off successfully. I know a mild stat line to say the least. Nice little mid-air shot from Rachel, but isn't able to find the second, which was needed to take down his counterpart in Wan Lee. LRC does get back to the battle, and the entire front line for LGD is gone, but most of it for TSL is also fall. But it looks like with the res coming out for 399, it will be DPS back into the mix, and TSL should be able to hold off this push.
The turret's still alive. Solo was Kadalis going to get splash damage out. Stopping that first attack, Rachel has earned a barrage. Burst damage coming through, misses the rocket, hits the melee only. Rachel a little bit in trouble. Wanna survive here with the barrage. Yeah, there you go. Gonna be playing in the top right-hand corner. Like you see right here, Mir come back on the Sombra. Torbjorn is not exactly a tall character, not exactly a fast one as well. Good Castle Blast to get away from the Hall Hook combo as well. Hoyo-Chen is gonna pop this Valkyrie as well, Alan, and that's gonna give him a lot of sustain to walk through this choke, but they're just backing off.
And yeah, it's really interesting. You looked like they wanted to start making their way over towards the police station, but they didn't really fully commit. Now they finally make their move to LGD Gaming, trying to find a way to get inside and then right back out. Kadalis has been allowed to get a free line of sight from the middle. He did not follow up with his team just so he can get a different angle, and it pays off here. Rachel does take down Secret, though. The Supercharger is also out, which might give a little bit of extra assistance. Wanley actually takes his own life on accident, so that'll be another nice little hold here for TSL. Really only having to use what was initially just the Supercharger. And the Nano Boost, I suppose, as well. But
correct, yeah, but they're going to have the self-destruct here. One thing to always look at for this composition that LGD are running currently is that you can actually utilize the halt from Melon's Orisa with the self-destruct and really yoink them into position. Finding 1 or 2 here for TSL, or against TSL, LGD Gaming can really crack this point wide open. We're down to 1 minute 30. It's been a pretty good defense so far. Mir's building this EMP pretty quickly. Almost gets bursted down. So expect this one to come around here momentarily, as well as the infrared sight will be wearing away here, and it's just time exhausted. 399 is going to wait for LGD Gaming to fully commit to walking into this fight before using the Valkyrie. I spoke too soon, popping it a little bit early. And that is one support ultimate that you're going to wish you had in your pocket again once LGD Gaming full commit to this fight.
Pretty crucial ultimate that's been taken off the board. Mir has re-established himself as getting this EMP ready to go. Just comes down to can he find good practice to actually use it. He is being chewed apart a little bit, Rachel, also with the barrage, just waiting for an opportunity to hit the trigger. Looks like they want to set up a little bit more aggressively than normal. Wanley gets boosted, though, and jumps right into Rachel's face. Nice little mid-air play, and now all of a sudden, it's free targets all over the place. LRC is able to find a little bit of a silver lining, but Wanley getting re-res right back up. This will surely be the first stick of progress. This is the only one that's needed. A little bit of insult to injury from Wan Lee, but it really comes down to boosting up Wan Lee and him putting himself right into the thick of things, into his opponent in that Pharah. And that was enough for LGD to find an advantage that they were able to run with and find that tick of progress they needed to take the map.
Supercharger, nano boost, damage boost. Wan Lee had been feeling pretty darn good about themselves. That rocket does so much damage at that point. Well, we saw Wan Lee landing a lot of direct rockets from control, bring that over to assault as well. And he said only 33% needed. And well, it got pretty close down to the wire. But yeah, at the end of the day, the win on the map is still the win on the map.
Well, LaFon, we'll bring you in to kind of break this one down, what we've seen so far. You know, there were, again, a lot of instances where TSL is on the cusp of having some success, not only offensively, but also defensively. Just not quite there yet. I
think this is actually not a bad map from them. Their offense was not particularly stellar, But I think defensively, there is some definite bright spots to be taken there from TSL, right? I think their crossfire was intelligent. They made proper setups. Kadalis doing Kadalis things as we see the highlight come through. This was a nice play. Ooh.
So he shot him in the body there. He shot the hamster in the body. How is that a headshot? I truly don't understand.
Well, the hamster's body is smaller than most people's heads, so.
Okay, that's understandable.
But actually, one reason they're able to win that, last fight out is simply the nano boost onto Pharah, right? With a damage boosting from Mercy. That's a 200 HP direct, and double directs will give you 2 kills in a row. And by that point in time, 2, 3 down, doesn't matter that LRC picks up 1 because the fight's already over. Especially an assault in a last fight situation, right? There's no way you're gonna get it back to recontest. I think for TSL, they had some really smart play. I think that their Orisa's line was actually intelligent. The way they placed their shielding was intelligent, which is a big deal because Orisa, not a very interactive character, shall we say. She doesn't really have a lot of mobility, doesn't have a lot of movement, so it's all about shielding, the proper timing. And I think for TSL, they made the most of it. Unfortunately, you do need those pop-offs, and it just didn't come through at any point in time.
Yeah, and it's not like 399 was able to resurrect. I mean, you can't resurrect multiple individuals anyway. That hasn't been in the game for a while. But against Kadalis, everywhere is a no-fly zone. You got to be really careful if you're 399. You got to watch your noggin. But Kadalis, again, doing Kadalis things only equates to pharmacies having a little more difficult of a time.
And I will say, it is not the first time a player has come into Chinese Contenders, made their name on HitScan, and then popped off from there. So for Kadalis, we don't know where his future is going to go, but at least for now, it seems very bright indeed.
Indeed, LGD up 2-0 in the set so far versus TSL. Another Group B matchup on the line here. We'll send things to our intermission break. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at our hybrid to see if TSL can find themselves a crucial win, or will it be the set going in favor of LGD? Only time will tell. Join us after the break. Greetings, friends. Welcome back. IHOLDSHIFT with Panda. We've got ourselves a set, to say the least. 2-0 so far as LGD going up against TSL. It was a 2-0 on the Nepal control, and then a 1-0, technically, actually 0.330 on the Paris assault, if we're being super specifics. I know, dude. No T goes uncrossed, no I goes undotted with me. You know me by now. Hollywood is the hybrid coming up next. Get that smile off your face. It's go time. It's serious time. Let's get this going. We've got Hollywood, the hybrid coming up, and this is where LGD again has shown a lot of resiliency. If we're seeing Kadalis stay in, which I believe we should be, that sniper rifle could definitely come into play throughout the first 2 stages of this map on the offense or defense, depending on whatever they start.
But your name is IHOLDSHIFT. There's no I that's even. You know what? Anyway, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. There's a lot of good sight lines. At the very top, you're right. It sure does. It sure does. He's very right. He's very right, But you're not wrong. Across all 3 stages, you can even be forcing the Widowmaker all the way across the 3rd point. TSL have to break through there first. See them coming out with a composition that they seem to be pretty comfortable with. Oh, spoke too soon. One thing that we wanted to highlight, especially, and we didn't really touch up on it until I'm going to bring it up right now, is that they looked really good in previous weeks when they were attempting to pull out the halt hook combos. Now they're going to be going towards a more stalwart composition on this patch of Overwatch Contenders. And, well, Kadalis says you can try again.
Atlanta.
Supports never want to see them again.
What, dude? 2 shots, 2 kills, both in rapid succession. That's pretty nuts, my man. Rachel scouted all this out and is sitting here. You can actually kind of hear it. Rachel's all right, they're setting up in the high ground and we can make this play, and then never mind. Kadalis does things like that. He will get taken down by Rachel, so a little bit of a resurgence there, but Wanli scouts out where that telelocator was. Kadalis will be re-res back up as well, so now all of a sudden TSL has some presence in the high ground. They can definitely make a move from here. It just comes down to can they do it together. That's been the big issue for TSL so far.
Getting a hack onto Rookie, not exactly a prime hack target, but it is what it is. Purple's going to come through defensively now for Secret. Going to be building this nano boost pretty quickly as well. The infrared sight is going to pay massive dividends, so that way Rachel can't be lurking in the background, but it allows the dive to come through. DPS already finds Rookie.
Yeah, great play here from DPS. He's actually getting a lot of help as well from Mira, who does actually get slept. And, well, Wanli will come to try to clean up some of the pieces, saying, get out of my support line, and he'll be able to find the DMAC plus the support line of TSL in response. And that'll be enough to force back TSL once more. And again, you can see LRC is playing on the sniper, and Kadalis again with 2 straight headshots. There's no way this guy's legit. I'm sorry.
To quote Caster in the first match, good friend Rien, this kid is cracked on the sticks. He's going absolutely bonkers over here, and well, LGD Gaming now are going to have the Nano Boost. Expect that to go over to Wan Lee. And even when the dive does come through, let's not forget that they did find an opening pick onto Rookie there. So a lot of sustain was gone. They still had the Ana and the Mercy to be playing with. LGD did on their defense, but they still couldn't get through the choke just because Kadalis was holding down the sidelines. Even getting down dropped so low, gets the armor pack to be brought back up to full HP.
Oh, big hack onto Wan Lee, doesn't get taken down. He was nano boosted previously, so just like that, DPS hits the go call properly so with the Primal Rage. Rachel could also hit the EMP if they need to, but the kills are good, and oh, the right-click hack is also good enough, likely to find themselves the advantage. They need to find the rest of this tick capture on A, which it looks like it will be coming through. A nice go-centric attack here from TSL, mostly coming in the back end of Rachel being able to hack out Wan Lee.
OWC swapping over to the Lucio. They're going to be giving up this point here, Alan, and, well, it'd be really smart to as well. The quicker that Wan Lee can get this barrage off, the sooner that they'll be able to. I was about to say, probably just going to use it in spawn for funsies. Justice reigning in spawn for LGD. Let's see what the swap might be going over to. Are you going to swap Wan Lee?
Big question marks as
Yeah,
all eyes.
yeah,
There we go.
Okay, I was trying to figure out. He's like, what would be most effective in this composition? Dallas got to pop the infrared sight. It's going to be able to spot out Rachel, so they're going to just be in stealth, just doing the jiggle dance with their team right now. EMP is available, so holding translocator in their pocket, throw it in there, try to get any sort of high ground away. But the high ground can be controlled fully for LGD Gaming on defense here.
Kadalis again opens up with a headshot, this time onto Rachel, and follows up as Rookie's able to find one, and just every shot connecting right now for Kadalis. And well, that'll be the end of that initial push pretty quickly, as they'll stagger out Mir for as long as humanly possible, which it won't be for that much longer. You imagine they actually halter back into play and actually will also hack, and one more shot from Melon will do the trick. A beautiful stagger from LGD. It's a small moment, but it pays off when it comes down to time on the clock there, Andy.
Yeah, time on the clock. It's definitely one thing that LGD will have on their sides. EMP comes out, finds 4. Gonna be able to open up this push for TSL slightly.
Looking really good. DPS again following up nicely. Honestly, I mean, again, he's finding all the proper targets, jumping from to and fro, and now you just get the hack off onto Hoyo-chan, who is somehow able to carry his momentum back to safety. So that's a nice little escape from LGD and a silver lining, I suppose, after that committal comes from TSL. But for LGD, you've got a nano boost ready to go. Maybe you just put it onto Melon just to try to pull some of these players from TSL off in staggered fashion. But DPS, again, does have himself a Primal Rage plus a Sound Barrier in support for TSL, so they can make something happen here. Just comes down to, can they find the priority pick? There goes that nano boost onto Melon, like I mentioned, but he gets biotic graded and hacked. So that might be the opportunity for TSL to push right back on forward, but Melon is able to survive for at least a small amount of time. TSL, though, comes back with the numbers, DPS with the Primal Rage, looking to, again, zone away. The payload's making a lot of really steady progress. And once again, TSL in a good spot to potentially finish off this second stage of the map.
Yeah, Melon was at sub 200 HP. DPS turns around slightly, gives him one backhand to throw him behind that haystack. But the EMP is good from Wan Lee, finds 2, but they can't get the sound barrier away from 399.
Rachel trying to respond back with one of their own trades back and forth. LRC able to find 2 picks, and now all of a sudden TSL looking at this 4v4 saying, hey, this is potentially winnable, but Hoyo-chan has different things in mind as the DMEC came through, plus also the pilot diva taken care of, and now Wan Lee just needs to track down these last couple opponents, which he will do successfully, and that'll be TSL not quite able to get all the way down to that little checkered bar, pardon me, that checkbox of stage 2's completion.
I had numbers as well again, and this would be the second, if not the third time on this map alone, Alan, that they walked into a fight with numbers and sustained because of the sound barrier from 399. Didn't find value even shutting down the EMP or the nano boost from Secret. Has another one as well. Kadalis, sorry, no trick shots in this lobby.
Yeah,
LRC.
thanks for trying. Kadalis also was able to take down Sush as well. Initially, I was like, okay, LRC, nice little pick he got to start, and I think he was feeling a little too frosty because he takes a very open pick, which Kadalis, he'll punish that every single time, and now he'll go ahead and say, this is how you trick shot, my friend, as he uses the grapple to get on up, but it's not ready for Rachel from behind. All headshots from the Uzi of Sombra. Wan Lee trying to track on up, now down to 15 seconds. Rachel able to get out with their lives, so now it's just down to how do you break this. Melon, he sees LRC in the backline and just says, go call, but maybe he can fade it out a little bit here. Primal Rage plus the boost. A hack comes meanwhile on the opposite side by where the payload is. TSL is able to survive through it. So all of a sudden, when it comes to the actual objective, they have numbers. And TSL very well could push this in overtime as long as they get a proper zone. DPS has a Primal Rage to use if he needs to. And he might not even need to use it simply because there's just nobody here defensively for LGD.
That was a very key DMAC there on the Rookie. Does have the self-destruct available. Now LGD, they're a little reeling because Melon was off on a YOLO mission in the backline trying to deal with LRC, who comes back on the Tracer. Numbers back in the advantage. Mir using self-destruct cannot get Oyo-Chen. The Primal Rage will, and that's probably one ultimate that you're going to want to hold in your pocket. It's not like the dive tanks are the best here on point C, but finding Reinhardt and Zarya value for TSL at this point, I would rather them either go to the Orisa Hog or just stay on Winston D.Va. They have looked a lot better on this tank duo rather than when they go over to the Reinhardt and Zarya, and they're going to do just that. LRC back over to the Widowmaker. It's almost like a Tracer v Tracer situation. You need to keep eyes on Kadalis at all times. Communication needs to come through, and you can't allow Kadalis to have those free shots that they've been finding all series
big
long.
hack. Melon in a lot of trouble. Nano Boost has to be used. Spider Grenade comes through. Now the EMP TSL with a really good position to possibly clean things up, but it's actually the counter self-destruct plus Kadalis, which will get the job done in the counter attack from LGD Gaming, plus the sound barrier that came in. Nice little receptive counter attack from LGD, although it looked like TSL was just about ready to break open this third stage.
They're gonna have to swap back in and out, reset the ultimate charge. Over to the D.Va once more. Down to 20 seconds. Wanli is just waiting in the waits with the EMP as well. Melon gets hacked again, can't pop the Primal Rage. Rachel's gonna lock down that elimination, and now they find themselves an opening, but can't stack up too heavily. That's exactly what Wanli's looking for.
Yeah, but it just comes down to what kill potential do you have in the back end of this EMP. You're gonna have to be able to commit all of your resources to it. As just Rookie and Melon, again, seem like the biggest threats. I mean, of course, Kadalis, but unless he finds a support line, it's going to be very difficult to find. Emperor Sight does get popped. A couple of more ultimates getting traded back and forth. The Nano Boost comes through DPS, able to find Rookie. It's a big opening pick for him. Is he now going to drop in the support line? The EMG comes out for LGD, but is it too little too late as the sound barrier counters it for TSL? Now Rachel has got an opportunity to potentially find himself an extra little bit of charge. If he can find another EMP, it'd be great, but it's actually, no, they're able to push it all the way through. Not quite able to get back in time was Melon, and a nice little push at the very end for TSL in overtime.
Yeah, it was almost a kind of a replica of how you would expect against a Wrecking Ball composition there. We're just waiting, TSL, where we're waiting for Melon to jump into the backline and for the focus not to be on the Sombra player, and well, going for that hack immediately, locking down Melon a handful of times, held onto the Primal Rage, not because they wanted to, but because they were just hacked into oblivion so many times over. And when you saw again, a little bit of a different tide for TSL, that when DPS, the Winston player for TSL, was getting hacked, and even when the EMP came through, 399 was there 2 times over with the sound barrier. So that's a big heads up play for the main support player of 666 Legend, able to understand that when the EMP was about to be coming around and the win condition was set for LGD Gaming to find value in the sound barrier, or against the sound barrier rather, was just hiding in the wakes and just waiting for the right moment to pop it in.
Indeed, and if we've got a hot second here, we'll get a hot take from LaFon to see what his takeaways were just really quickly in that first half of Hollywood.
I think that's actually one of the things there is that TSL did the one thing that I said they needed to, is that they took advantage of the fact that LGD's not showing them any respect. LGD went for a long chase, didn't get anything out of it, and that allowed TSL to just find themselves back in the map. And this is what I said they needed to do. If they want to be competitive in this series, they need to be quietly, just looking for those opportunities where LGD gets a little full of themselves and look for those win conditions.
Indeed, indeed. And again, this is a very formidable opponent in LGD. Thank you, LaFon. And TSL is definitely putting up a fight. So here we go. Switch the sides around. LGD for the attack. We'll have to find a full completion of the map if they want to keep their hopes of potential 4-0 in the live, or will TSL be able to start to pull things back and maybe even hint at a potential Game 5 if they can pull out a win here in Hollywood. It's going to come down to Kadalis versus LRC, Widow v Widow battle here, and also the pulled port combination for TSL, although maybe they're thinking differently about this, as look how aggressive set up LGD is. This is a little bit uncharacteristic for a defense in Hollywood.
Yeah, I was about to say what we joke around calling the baby bay goats, the Widowmaker as the solo DPS, wasn't necessarily the one you were looking for. Going over to the Sombra now as Kadalis. The dive comes through from Melon, only loses about 200 HP. That's not exactly something you want to see.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of an interesting hit. TSL wanted to commit very early, but I don't think they really had the real estate to even attempt that initially, and they get punished for it. Melon now can just sit here and static shock this Ana for what feels like an eternity. Biotic Grenade will prolong this 1v1, and finally, Melon will just Goomba Stomp on top of TSL and their support line, and that will likely be the capture at A coming through pretty quickly.
A lot of ultimates being found as well. You saw that initial leap that Melon ended up finding is going to have a Primal Rage very early on. DPS and Mir swapping over to their own dive tanks. It's about controlling the high ground here for TSL on the defense. Can't allow the setup to be coming through, but LGD, they have the ultimates just to break through this defense already. EMP and self-destruct combo, it's still very good. Made very infamous back last season Overwatch World Cup from Team Canada. Gonna have to see if LGD Gaming can pull it off. Winning the fight, ideally, with just the EMP would be LGD's mindset, but throwing in the extra follow-up just for that much more cart space and time advantage is already on their side, but just to stop TSL in their tracks early on this defense would be even better.
And you can see DPS is just setting the line in the sand as he just pushed right on top of the payload, and then we'll jump back to try to find a pick onto anybody who's there. And the boost, I think, was a little bit misshot here as Rachel gets the receiving end of the nano boost. Now the hack comes through for LGD, and that finds a lot of value as Rookie and Melon are able to track down a couple of squishy opponents, and Hoyo-chan also getting himself involved. Again, one of, I think, the more frag-heavy Lucios that we have in Chinese Contenders, getting himself involved in the kill feed here.
Okay. So one of the more fun parts about a Lucio as well, the main support can hear when a target is going to be low or one shot. You can just go in there, get a nice little primary fire, even a sound wave, and a melee combo. Well, what's most important is that that EMP was very timely from Kadalis. Is going to be the only one that died for LGD Gaming. Stopped Rachel's attempts from going in there and finding their own EMP as well. So really good work for LGD Gaming, just hitting the trigger on that one first. Going to be popping their own rally to sustain themselves in this fight.
First opening elimination, though, goes on to DPS. A little bit unfortunate for TSL as this second stage is looking very, very vulnerable to completion for LGD. The self-destruct sequence gets thrown out, almost in desperation, not able to find anything with it, and Melon is just bouncing from target to target. Will eventually get taken down with the assistance of an EMP that came through for Rachel. So trying to fight this back with abbreviated numbers is TSL in the defense. DPS now in the Primal Rage. He does get stunned, but it's fine. They got plenty of help to live through it. It just comes down to, can he actually help out the rest of his DPS or of his support line? The answer seems to be no to both. Unfortunate for him as he was trying to just zone some players away from this payload, but it's LGD able to find the crucial picks.
Oyo Chen got a good sound barrier off as well. Speaking of that EMP, early sound barrier from 399, they want to contest this. It would be a last fight as well, and they're going to be able to stall it out as well. Rookie's going to get demeched here momentarily, Alan, and while LGD Gaming are going to get pushed back, Alan has to pop out this Primal Rage just to try to capture this point. They are hard committing to capture the second point of Hollywood.
This is an all-in, really, from both teams, and why not, as you're really close to completing the second stage. Kadalis, though, fortunately for him, with Melon popping off the Primal Rage, he is able to hold on to the EMP, and then you start to take a look at the top left of your screen. Wan Lee close to a rally. You also have a nano boost, and you've got a sound barrier ready to go for LGD in the near future. For TSL, it will essentially be the hack for Rachel, so it's going to be EMP versus EMP. You also have a slight advantage with DPS having a Primal Rage ready to come up.
TSL going to be taking their own Brigitte, so a mirror matchup here for our two teams on third point Hollywood with 3 minutes and 35 seconds and counting down. With their EMP here, Rachel cannot hesitate. Last time they tried to do this, ended up getting EMP'd first by Kadalis. The rally's already out, but that's going to be able to only find two.
Yeah.
Answer back by 5.
Yeah, and Hoyo-chan's able to hit the sound barrier as well, so this is all gas pedal for 666. They're ready for LGD into the phase of 666 Sledge, and that's going to be a full team wipe coming through, essentially, as Melon will try to track down the very pesky Rachel Sombra, who will eventually fall. So all 6 players do drop for TSL, and just like that, 3 minutes of bank, and LGD are right on par to be able to finish off this map with plenty of time in the bank.
Very rare that you get to say this, but TSL are actually very happy to lose that fight. They actually got 4 ultimates out of LGD Gaming, so now it's just tank ultimates that they have to combat through with their own self-destruct and nano boost as well. Throwing it in the self-destruct already. No shield available. They have to hide behind the walls, but surviving, but exhausting time and finding space is TSL.
The DPS, he was just sitting in the payload saying, who wants to contest me? Okay, there's the bulk of the team. Let's go ahead and hit the Primal Rage. But again, the support line has already fallen. That's been the big, I think, trend so far when it comes to these approaches. LGD is just doing a better job of getting the supports out of the mix from TSL. And that will be another full team wipe coming through, and the map completed with 2 minutes and I believe 26 seconds that was left on the clock, 80. That is a significant time bank. And again, it was, I believe, overtime for TSL. So this is win condition established if they can find a little bit of progress on their second approach really coming up.
Yeah, LGD Gaming decided not to be playing around with their food any longer. They go over to the stalwart composition of the 3-2-1, and while there's no value in trying to find counter dives there, DPS was kind of overclocked and had to try their best to just find any sort of frontline oppression, but was always met by hacks, was always met by shield bashes, and then once TPS leapt in, then you saw Melon and Rookie go in for the counter dive as well, and it was just a mess. Secret was uncontested again. This is shades of how Nepal was being played out as well, is that when you have that much frontline oppression into the enemy backline, is that your flex support, so long as their positioning is decent, they're going to be able to find a lot of value in just healing up tanks, overhealing as well, along with the Brigetto by one biotic grenade, and it's very fast nano boost that can be garnered.
And again, it just feels like the support line is just living longer for LGD compared to TSL. And I know we could point our fingers at a lot of different reasons of maybe why that is. But regardless, again, just another instance, a small little kind of inkling towards that notion of, again, the coordination just isn't quite there for TSL to know how to respond to certain situations. And then again, the abuse that's been happening in the support line of TSL has been pretty catastrophic. You take a look very quickly at the scoreboard. Again, it was 226 for LGD, and it was, in fact, an overtime for TSL. So the best that you can hope for here if your TSL is a draw, which means that essentially LGD Gaming have won this set in technicality, which will improve them to, I believe, be a playoff team. But those are things that I can't necessarily say with 100% certainty. So for now, let's just go ahead and finish off Hollywood.
Absolutely. LGD Gaming again, 3-2-1. Sombra attack here with the dive tanks. TSL will be playing a dive defense, however. They're not going to be trying to play out the Widowmaker style. Got snuffed out early. And what you need a competition is going to be able to win a fight early here and set up an ultimate economy if you want to hold off and basically look for the draw as well and set yourself up with a good mental heading into the fourth and final map.
And barely able to contest just in time. Wan Lee, you can see, just trying to get a couple of repair packs out. Mir, though, does able to take down the mech of Rookie. So essentially a 6v5.5 if you want to really kind of use Pilot Diva as a character in half sense. Kadala still able to take down a very key member. Once again, the support line of 666 Legend falls first. And just like that, LGD soft reset, get full HP, get your ultimates going, and then hit the go trigger. Melon jumps right into the bottom of the cafe, and that'll clean things up. Again, though, I just have to emphasize this. LGD played that absolutely perfectly. Say, all right, we took care of the Lucio. Soft reset, get full HP, recommit with ultimates, win the fight. That's exactly what happens. Just very clinical and surgical play coming out of LGD Gaming.
Absolutely. And here's one other thing as well. Wan Lee onto the Brigitte rather than having Kaneki and to be playing that Covenant role. Looked very, very good as well. And, well, I know it's against 666 Legend, who is at the bottom of Group B as well. But this roster of LGD Gaming, let's not forget, they did beat T1W GZA last week in Chinese Contenders as well. And you got to see some of that great coordination coming through on the dives all throughout Hollywood on their attack.
Well, we'll bring LaFon to kind of give us a wrap up here in Hollywood. Again, our biggest takeaways was simply the fact, I think, a couple of things you can point at. It's the first and foremost, the TSL support line is dying so quickly. But beyond that, it just seems like the team-centric idea of what to do and when is just a little bit short for TSL as well.
Yeah, and I think this is something that goes back to when we saw the LGD versus Billy Gaming game in week 1, actually, when Kadalis came in map 4, right? That was the first time we saw Kadalis play, and one thing that we sort of noticed, even though they did take that map, was that LGD did not have necessarily team cohesion we expected. Now, 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, that is no longer the case. Here, that is, we're seeing LGD at playing at the peak performance that they've got. I think this is a team that's only going to get better too, as they continue to cement their play style into, week 5 and beyond. And LGD now is a very real threat heading into the playoff situation. I think, we talked about it. We're going to see a couple highlight packs coming through here, but look at the cohesion here. Wan Lee all ins on that play. I mean, Kadal's just going to hit headshot after headshot. Wan Lee goes in all in and finds value. And that's because he's given the space that his team requires. He finds that information from his team and he goes in for it. I think this is really good from LGD. And that last final fight on first point when they took that first third, we know how effective they can be.
So no-fly zone, whether you're playing Widowmaker or Mercy, 399 and LRC on receiving end of the no-fly zone. And you got to give Kadalis the respect, especially when you're going against a Widowmaker. I mean, since week 1 that we saw this absolute gamer coming into this region of Chinese Contenders in this season, it's been popping off and popping heads, man. You can't just directly deal with it. You have to have the tanks pressure them out, and you have to wait for the shot to come to you. It's not necessarily something just like, oh, I could hit that shot on a good day too. Well, Kadalis is going to hit that first. I'm sorry.
That's
but they're just going to hit that first.
Right. It's not that mechanically that Kadalis is so much vastly better than everyone in Chinese Contenders. It's that his game decision making, right? That's the more important thing on Widowmaker. It's setting up your sight line, setting up your positioning, your timing has been the best so far. Yeah. I think mechanically there are other people who are equal to him in terms of just hitting the shot, but it's how, you position yourself so that you don't get shot first, right? That's the bigger thing. And I think Kadalis, off the back of LGD's better teamwork has really been giving them the opportunity to do that.
So far, so good. LGD up 3-0 against TSL. I think for most of us, we probably expected a similar scoreline, but we'll see what happens in map number 4. Again, TSL just on the cusp of making this potentially a more highly contested set. We'll see what happens when we get to the pure escort when we come back. Hello, you. It's us. We've got ourselves Chinese contenders coming up for you guys here in the Overwatch world. It's IHOLDSHIFT and Panda. We've got map 4 online for you guys. It will be the pure escort, and LGD are currently enjoying a lead. I won't say comfortable, though. It is a 3-0, and it's been a little bit tighter in certain instances of those previous 3 maps. We'll see what happens here in map 4.
Got 99% on the first stage of Nepal, and that was a 2-0 victory for LGD Gaming. And then you saw all 3 points being captured in overtime for TSL on our hybrid map. And well, we saw it go down to the wire on pairs as well. So going over to Rialto, the land of right angles when it comes to control maps.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, gotta let you all know that there was a substitution. Don't worry. It's Kaneki coming in for Wanli. We get more Kadala's play coming through. And, well, why wouldn't you want to keep the lad in there as well? This is Widowmaker's playground. Again, much like Hollywood, there's a lot of sight lines. There's a lot of different cheeky angles. You could be hiding off in the shadows on point A, whether you're inside the hotel or right above where this boat is going under as well. And, well, Kadala's has been popping off, man. I mean, again, there's a lot of Pharah play that a lot of different Chinese teams have been enjoying playing, and it's not just Chinese as well. I should reiterate that it's most contenders regions have been favoring the pharmacy when we go here on Rialto, and against a Widowmaker like Kadala's, LRC has had their work cut out for them already, and well, mirror matchup, here we go once again. Got a pharmacy for both sides, the Orissas. Full port, yoink and yoink, call it what you will. Mir's gonna get that good hook. Nice. The lockdown as well, and that's numbers right off the rip.
Really strong start for TSL. So now all of a sudden, what can you turn that into? You'd love to get through the majority of this courtyard before Rookie's able to join back into the battle. So TSL will let Rachel float for a little bit longer, and a nice little soft reset here for LGD, waiting until they've got their full front line before they make a play. And again, there's that courtyard starting to get pushed through. Rachel looking to keep everybody underneath that underpass, and he can do this relatively for free until you can scout out of where Kadalis is, and the shots will give it away. And there we go, nice direct rocket. TSL, a strong start to this offense, but Mir does get halted and hooked, but is able to stay alive. Biotic comes through and he counters back with the hook of his own. He's also got the whole hog if he wants to use it. And goodness, TSL, a much stronger start for them here on the escort. They will allow Kaneki to get himself re-rezzed back up, but it will likely come at a pretty steep cost as, well, I say that, and Kaneki's able to pull the barrage open, and that will actually stop the payload dead in its tracks just before it touches the checkpoint for stage 1.
0.91 meters. That's insane. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, about halfway through this attack phase, and well, now LGD Gaming, they have ultimates to be playing around with, even though they did use the nano boost as well as the fire barrage and even the supercharger. The Valkyrie ultimate coming through is going to be able to over-sustain themselves as well, and well, this is where TSL is going to really struggle. You have to work your way all the way through the courtyard. You don't have the payload for cover for your tanks as well, but it doesn't even matter. Even though Rachel gets res back up, a lot less room to be flying now that Kadalis has the room to be playing on all of these angles.
And LGD is playing very patiently. You can see what kind of choke points they want to try to set up, and well, 666 Legend are paying a lot of respect to this infra site, and you're seeing exactly why. It's a headshot into DPS, and then a follow-up by Kaneki. That'll be enough for an opening first elimination in this exchange, which will favor LGD again with this very aggressive positioning, just sitting over the top of the hotel. It's really, really a good spot to have Kaneki just floating for free, which is exactly what he's doing.
And this is the hardest part, again, working your way through this this courtyard. And that's why you see Melon just playing so far forward with Rookie looking for their full port combos. Gets their own available. The Biotic Grenade's going to claim the life of DPS. And, well, this is just a struggle right here, man, right? Like, you don't have a Lucio to pull out the speed boost to try to go through this smaller area and just try to get any sort of aggressive positioning when that second shield comes down from the defending Orisa of Melon. And it's just time exhausted at this point that LGD Gaming are halfway through the rest of their ultimates that were once used in that fight to stop the payload where it was currently stalled out. I think he's going to have another barrage here momentarily. They can also pull out the full hog combo with the whole hog as well. Can Rookie.
Oh, good timing.
Really, really
here will be boosted, but he gets biotic grenades, so no self-fuel comes through. Melon able to punish, and once again, it's just elimination by elimination, stringing them together. 6v5s all over the place, favoring LGD. And that payload, which at one point, like you mentioned, was less than a meter away from getting to completion, has now backed itself almost all the way back to the middle checkpoint.
Now they are just waiting and winning fights without ultimates as well. LGD are pushing this down to 20 seconds. Last fight territory. Racial can't even get res back up out in the open. That resurrection is being covered. I don't even think it's off cooldown either. LRC again struggling in this matchup against Kadalis. Good haul combo. Pulls up Rookie. Almost gets away with a slice behind the shield.
But Mirage, as I'd say, is pretty free. In 666 Legend, that previous when they try to push things through, the DPS had used his supercharger. That was when they wanted to try to make this payload bit move. Mirage comes in, but it isn't enough to find enough damage, and now we're in overtime. Rookie with the whole hog is zoning everybody away. Will get slept by Shush, but I think the damage has pretty much already been dealt. DPS very low in HP, will get boosted up. So opportunity, as he does earn himself the supercharger, he'll put that right back behind his shield, and all of a sudden there's an opportunity to at least push this payload further forward. But the respawn should be here in time for LGD to contest one more time.
Oh, this is a very sticky situation. You see Melon on the wrecking ball. Can come swinging in here. Try to be getting this contest. Just at the last second, touches it in time, and LRC shots gonna be able to get Kaneki out of the sky. Oh, and the frag's just coming through in just enough time, and TSL are gonna be able to capture point A, give themselves 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the board. Kadalis, he doesn't care about what hero you go up against him with. Neither does Hoyochen. Pulling out the Valkyrie, flying in your face, getting the headshot as well. And although LGD Gaming have to go for a full reset, that's, well, not without a couple consolation prizes and a couple self-victories from Kadalis killing a Tracer and Hoyochen killing a Widowmaker. That's what you really love to see, unless you're on the receiving end and then you're just really annoyed. However, TSL gonna be able to set up shop minorly here. LRC popping the infrared sight, gonna be forcing LGD Gaming back. They're going to be getting close to a couple tank ultimates, but didn't get to eat the halt. Gets pulled back in, flies back out with their life. Mir escaping, clench of health left.
And now look at the aggression from Kaneki, able to find LRC and say, that's a fight that I'll take every day. But again, the front line and support line dealing with a lot of issues for LGD as TSL are staying very nicely together on the payload and punishing a handful of members who are essentially left by themselves. Rachel has to fade back to get the mega pack. We'll be able to return to the fight pretty quickly, though. And again, this payload has made some very good early progress here in stage 2. Good signs of life once again from TSL. I mean, they're in this series. It doesn't really feel like it based on the score that you look at the top of their screen, but TSL's putting up a fight.
TSL even giving up the Roadhog, putting Mir back over to the Diva. This is something I would rather see as well, because LGD Gaming are just finding a lot of free damage. Mitigating any sort of these damage shots from Kadalis and Kaneki would definitely be the one way of doing it. You also have to be on the lookout for the halts. Eating the halts is priority number 1. You cannot allow these things to happen. And again, that would be the 3rd hook in a row, immediately over to the Diva.
Nano boosts come out. Barrage tries to come through for Kaneki and will be taken down, but it's not before he's able to find 2 eliminations. So LGD will still be the victors of this fight, as almost everybody from TSL will fall apart. But again, a lot was used again for both teams as they're essentially just battling with big uppercuts back and forth. Kadalis, well, no love lost between him and LRC, as that's not a story that I don't even think Casanova would pick up, as Kadalis has been the victor of it more times than not.
And TSL also used some of their biggest utility ultimates as well on the Supercharger and the Nano Boost, and found no value. Hoyochen's gonna pull out the Valkyrie here, maybe a little early, but the sustain in this last fight territory, why not? It's just for fun to do at this point. Kadalis again, a headshot after headshot after headshot. They're just dead. Shift.
They're all dead. They're just gone. What happened to all my friends? Kadalis is even looking for the airborne shots onto the floating Valkyrie of 399, but it's going to be the end of it. Rookie will actually, I don't know if he realized it, was putting some bullets of the whole hog into our cameraman. That's a little rude, but not as rude as the triple kill from Kadalis to put the nail in the coffin. It was essentially halfway through stage 2 that TSL was able to get, but again, I have to keep hitting on it because it merits being mentioned. You look at TSL, they're playing competitively versus LGD, and again, they're going to finish off their Contenders regular season against Light Gaming, who looked very lackluster yesterday. So there's opportunities here, honestly, LaFon, as we bring you back in for TSL, maybe to make a run for a playoff spot. It's possible.
It's mathematically possible. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think. What's their last game?
It's against Light Gaming.
Yeah.
It is mathematically possible. We were talking about this before the broadcast, actually, about where off-stream, where who would be making the playoffs from this group, and outside the top 2, I think, everything else is wide open, right? Everything else is still very, very wide open, especially with what happened in our previous match. So, yeah, no, it's not out of the, it's not. I think the only team that would be out is the one currently in 5th.
No,
right
it's
now.
TSL. I think the bottom 3 are still mathematically involved.
No, there's one, the one that's between TSL and the one so not TSL, the one right above them, I think, is out because of the way math differential works. Anyway, it's really close. But for TSL, you're right, there is a mathematical possibility for them, and they are going up against a team that could do it. So if they can continue to play some of the styles they're doing here, it could still be available for them.
Well, we'll jump back in as we had a very quick little slide swap coming through. So now it's LGD, again, having to get just through the second stage, actually just halfway through the second stage, and they'll be able to find themselves the 4-0 that they're trying to covet. And goodness, LRC in a heck of a lot of trouble, but Kenobi does get pulled in and also halted afterwards, but he's somehow able to survive. Maybe a missed opportunity to find an opening elimination for TSL. Kadalis playing aggressively on these balconies between the hotels, and he's got Kenobi flying above, so a lot of source of damage coming through this choke point for the side of LGD.
There's another thing to mention as well. The angles that are being placed, because LRC and Rachel are having to play so static and damn near on top of each other. Hoyo-chan has so many different angles that they can be Guardian Angeling through, but it doesn't save you from a hook.
And just like that, Hoyo-chan falling. TSL, can you turn this into a stark map advantage when it comes to positioning alone? Nope, Kadalis, headshot.
No fly
Hello,
zone.
my old friend. Shush also gets taken down. This guy has got it tuned into the support line and is finding headshot after headshot after headshot. And, well, now he's put himself in a nice aggressive spot to find, what? Another headshot. You can see LRC is just trying to keep himself like, I don't want to peek. Just keep me out of here.
Comes the grapple hook up through the tree. Does not connect with it, Kaneki. Maybe skipping across the rooftops here. A minor contest coming through. 2.62 meters left, and now just the spam coming in. And, well, TSL, they do have ultimates combating this one through, but the nano boost is already out from Secret.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's just, do you
Such
want to
raw power, man.
Yeah, do you want to fight up against the rock or the stone? You either get Kadalis with the headshots, or you get Kenobi with direct shots coming in off the far rock.
And then a boulder falls on top of you. Like.
It's just insult to injury at this point in time. All I can picture right now is like TSL taking on like the incarnation of Indiana Jones running away from the boulder from behind him in the Temple of Doom. That's like all I'm seeing is just like, get out of here. Rachel able to find themselves a little bit of success though on the early stages of this second stage push. And how about that? Another one that's dealing with both the rock and the stone previously mentioned. Kadalis and Kenobi getting taken out. So TSL will be able to set up themselves a little bit of a defense here in the underpass.
Not using any ultimates whatsoever, or I guess only utilizing the nano boost in that last fight. They're going to pull the Valkyrie here from 399 to sustain themselves. Good air-to-air battle coming through here. The dogfight cannot get the second rocket. Rachel almost got that frag onto Kaneki, but who has the barrage? Both bars do respectfully, but the tank ultimate's online for TSL. The utility from the supercharger could be the difference maker for TSL once this contest comes in.
Whole hog will be utilized. That's enough to take down Mirrors, so an opening advantage for the frontliners, but Rachel able to hit the barrage, able to take down Secret. LRC with 2 headshots in response. Definitely throwing his hat in the ring, saying, I can take these fights. Trust me, team. I know it's not looking pretty at times, but still a lot of influence being gained here. But 399 gets pulled into danger and gets taken down, and just like that, Melon just steps on forward and is able to take down his counterpart in DPS. And now Rookie has an opportunity to essentially just find a small reprieve behind these boxes and try to get healed, but he will be stepped out by TSL, who are able to take him back down. An even fight coming through as the boost will be popped for LGD. And Kenobi does have a barrage to use, but again, he's just trying to live as it's a very scrappy battle around this L tournament in the second stage.
Yeah, and the barrier finally dissipated from DPS. It was up a little bit too long in that fight. Kaneki utilizing full flight. After Rookie went down, there was a lack of shield spam as well. And now just waltzing back up here, Rachel gets rezzed up by 399. And well, TSL, they don't have any ultimates online anytime soon. LGD can be setting up for a halt into this barrage as well, and are going to have a Valkyrie in the middle of this fight as well.
And Dallas is waiting for the opportunity to pounce. Hits a body shot there. LSU taking the 1v1, and neither come away as the victor. But there is an advantage to the front line of TSL as Melon did get fallen. But again, the resurrection from Hoyo-chan, we mentioned it briefly. He's so good about getting these off for free. Now the barrage potentially into the back line, trying to set it up, but does get pushed away by Mir. So a nice little distraction play from TSL to make sure the back line stays safe. But who's helping the front line? That's the bigger question as Kenobi tries to stay away from the self-destruct sequence, which finds nice value. Supercharge down, plus its carrier in Melon. Just comes down to getting you deal with Kadalis. There's so many threats on the board still for LGD, and finally with the resurrection coming into Rachel, it looks like there will be a stark advantage for TSL to hold the defense.
Fantastic disengage from TSL. They were taking so much frontline pressure after the 2 shields went down from DPS. Kenobi was going in a little bit too deep there and was able to get stomped out, had a concussive blast even further towards the spawn of TSL because of the self-destruct sequence. And, well, getting the supercharger plus the elimination onto Melon as well. Gotta put LGD Gaming in a tough spot. They do have the mother-daughter combo. They're gonna end up trying to put this nano boost over to the Pharah, as they have done quite often throughout this series, but it's given TSL the time to build up their ultimates as well. Multiple utility ultimates coming online with the supercharger, Valkyrie, and nano boost from Shush. TSL do have ultimate advantage. It just comes down to them winning the fight, and this could be last fight territory because of these ultimates alone.
Kenobi gets
oh
boosted.
No.
He's not able to find an opportunity to use the barrage yet, but like you mentioned, a nice little emphasis there because it's DPS who falls first, and just like that, it's looking like Rachel's in a heap of trouble as Kenobi's able to find the elimination on his counterpart, and now the barrage comes out for free, finding a ton of damage, not able to convert on many kills, but it's okay. His teammates will do the work for him. DPS trying to roll in on the hamster, doing what he can, but he is 1 hamster versus 6. And LGD will finally come on top. But again, it was not nearly as easy as I think that we were expecting initially from this matchup. And LGD, they do finish out the 4-0, but I really am excited to see this TSL team kind of continue and finish out this regular season because, again, they have definitely improved and they're possibly in a spot where, hey, they've made it on trials time and time again. They could still be fighting for a playoff spot.
Agreed, and they always seem to find a way to try to squeak their way in, and that's more than just a hamster pun. That's quite literally what they do. And well, even down to that last fight too, you get to see like the scoreline as well across all maps. Again, got close on one stage, 4-hour control, got close on Paris, even though it was only 33% that needed to be gained. It was a very close fight on Hollywood, and right down to the final moments of Rialto, you saw the glimmers of hope coming out because of Ultimate Economy and just raw positioning alone. You get to see some of that tapped-in strength that we get to talk about from TSL from time to time.
Now, I want to bring LaFon and just pose you the opening question here, because I'm sure you've got a lot of thoughts on both of these teams, but the very scrappy Rialto. Do you have any kind of cause for concern for LGD, as, again, they already have come up against a couple of troubles in their regular season so far?
I think the one concern I had is that they're extending fights that they should be disengaging from. That's the one thing I think that was the difference maker there. A lot of the times, a fight, not every fight will go your way, even if you're the best team in the world versus the worst team in the world. It's sometimes you're just going to have resources that aren't there. The one difference there is recognizing when you've lost the fight, though, and disengaging. And I feel like LGD took a couple of fights that were a little too long and put themselves in a time bank position that was a disadvantage. But overall, I think in terms of the general play, no, I don't really have that many concerns with how LGD is playing.
Yeah, and to even bring it that much further as well, if you're wondering more about the tank line as well, it's Tanchu and Melon. For the main tanks, Melon, last time seen in even near the contender scene was actually Season 2 2019 trials for Korea, played for a team, Geekstar, actually. Yep. The last time they were actually in the contender circuit was in the Pacific region, 2018 Season 2 and Season 3 for 2 different teams, EXL Esports for Season 2, and then Phoenix for Season 3. So it's not like this player is just coming out on the whim, but it is a mixed roster at that point as well, and they look pretty damn good on it as well. Melon Kadalis being the Korean of the roster on a whole Chinese squad. Yeah. And they're able to work with it as well. Able to find a lot of good halt hook combos, raw hooks as well coming out from Rookie. And I just want to accentuate that as well. I think this is some of the best Overwatch that I've seen from Rookie this season alone, and able to really make a good stand-in play on that Diva and that Roadhog today further cements how strong this team is. And again, I said it earlier and I'll say it again. This is a team that was able to beat T1W last week.
And I think one thing here to note too from LGD that I didn't get a chance to mention in the Rialto broadcast, or the Rialto part of the broadcast, but I think is extremely important is how they're setting up. If you look at how TSL were setting up their defense and their offense for that matter, it's that LRC and the Far were playing in the same line. They were playing basically on top of each other, right? Just vertically separated. Whereas for LGD, Kadalis and Kenobi were playing adjacent to each other. We're setting up crossfires. And that shows two things. One, that there's a ton of respect internally for each other. They know that the other player is not going to be out of position. They know they're going to be able to do their job properly. But it also means that there's a level of extra pressure because you have to look both behind and in front of you. Whereas against TSL, LG only had to really deal with that one angle of attack, and that just means that you're a lot more static, as Panda mentioned on the broadcast, and it's going to be, a lot more awkward to actually counter against. So for LGD, it's a culmination of things that makes me not particularly worried about the fact that TSL made it competitive. I think TSL has fantastic players, as I mentioned earlier. LRC was doing really well, I think, in terms of the Widow play against a player as good as Kadala's. So that's I think down the line that LGD just has even more has more opportunities to show up in the games coming forward.
Yeah, I wanted to even accentuate on that point too that you brought up in an analyst segment was that there are a lot of players mechanically just as skilled as Kadala's, but it's about the whole supporting staff that goes along with a very good Widowmaker as well. Finding the proper positioning, like you said, the trust in your co-DPS of the Pharah or whatever it may be. Maybe it's double sniper, regardless of the matter. To hold a different angle, plus the front line holding down the line, so that way you do have less pressure on you to land those shots and to be lying into your own backline, just landing those cool, calm, and collected shots as well. It's just that macro play, that slight difference that you get to see from Kadala's versus LRC, that it's not necessarily that they're eons ahead of them, but they're just slightly ahead, and it makes all the difference, especially in a Contenders matchup.
100% the case, and that's LGD, of course, just kind of wrapping this one up, a 4-0 versus TSL. They'll finish off their regular season going up against Lucky Future, and like we mentioned just previously, TSL would be going up against Light Gaming in their final regular season matchup. But we're not done for the evening here, or I guess the morning. I don't even know what time of day it is, as we take a look at a couple of these highlights here just from this match. But we've also got Team CC going up against Flag Gaming coming up in just a short amount of time. And you guys were mentioning this little play here from Kadala's. He's able to find these triple headshots. And there are certain instances where, you might say that, okay, there's not as much of a skill gap between some of these players as it may suggest. But when there are moments like that happen, you really kind of go to show that there are a lot of moments where players like Kadala's do pop off and where names can really start to be made for themselves here in the Chinese Contenders scene, LaFon.
And I fully agree with that. And I will just say, I mentioned this earlier, but it is not the first time we've seen a player come in on the hit scan role and absolutely light up Chinese Contenders,
right,
only to become one of the best snipers in the world. So, for Kadala's, it's perhaps the start of that DM. Path.
Looking at you.
DM indeed. Hey, and you know what? Speaking of DM, there's also Erstar on that roster. So players coming from the Chinese Contenders region, going to Overwatch League and proving that they are some of the best players in the world. The future's bright, I think, for the players on LGD, and excited to see what they bring as we head into playoffs and then beyond that into Gauntlet.
Indeed, but again, coming up, like I mentioned previously, Team CC going up against Flag Gaming. This will be back to Group A pivotal one after, again, Bubble Burster Gaming in our first opening set was able to take a surpriser through Game 5 versus LGE and Heurix. So a lot of relying on this matchup. What happens and who might be finding themselves near the top of the standings, as it's a pretty even battle from top to bottom with the exception of Phantom Wizard. Sorry about you. We'll see what happens when we come back. Set number 3, Week 4, Chinese Contenders, just after this.